Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We request you all to kindly find your spots and be seated. We will begin shortly. I request you all to kindly be seated. We will begin shortly. Thank you. The ones who are still walking around, we request you all to kindly be seated. And also, please put your mobile phones on silent mode because we're going to have a very interesting panel discussion coming up. And we would not want you to miss out on the highlights as well. So we request you all to kindly put your mobile phones on silent mode. Good evening, namaskar, anevaraikum inyamale vanakam. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you. I am Ekta and I'm your presenter for this evening. We're extremely delighted to have you all here with us. Well, this is G Square. We're extremely proud to present the third edition of its flagship initiative, G Square Coimbatore Unlimited 3.0, powered by The Hindu. After two highly successful editions, we are excited to bring this landmark event back to the city that continues to redefine the growth and the innovation, and that is Nammapuri, Coimbatore. Before we move ahead, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take a moment to share something we are incredibly proud of. Last season, G Square, in partnership with The Hindu, was honored with a prestigious international recognition, the INMA Global Media Award. For those who are not familiar with what this award is all about, it is hosted by the International News Media Association, celebrates the world's best in news media marketing, advertising, and brand building, recognizing the innovation, the strategy, and the real-world results. Our campaign stood out on a global stage, not just for its creativity and the reach, but for how powerfully it connected with the audience and elevated the conversation around the smart urban development. This award is a testament, ladies and gentlemen, to the strength of meaningful collaborations, the boldness of fresh ideas, and the belief that when media and enterprise work together with purpose, the impact is powerful. So tonight, as we launch our G-Square Coimbatore Edition 3.0 powered by The Hindu, we carry forward that same spirit of excellence, of partnership, and the vision. I want you all to give a bigger round of applause for this powerful collaboration, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this platform is designed to spotlight defining Coimbatore's growth trajectory with integrated townships. This forum will explore how the city is positioning itself as a preferred destination for intelligent investments across residential, commercial, mobility, and technological infrastructure, while also highlighting the role of integrated townships, policy, innovation, and private enterprise in shaping its future growth. In this exclusive Coimbatore edition, we bring the conversation to investors, to entrepreneurs, to policy makers, to decision makers from Coimbatore, from the entire Kongu belt, increasingly looking beyond the traditional markets for value-driven opportunities. Once again, thank you to each one of you for being a part of this journey. And on that note, I want you all to give a round of applause for yourselves, please. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move into our first panel discussion on defining Coimbatore's growth trajectory with integrated township. And now I would like to request our panelist and a moderator to kindly be ready as we will be inviting them on the stage. Our first panelist for this evening is Mr. Junaid Babu. He is a distinguished veteran in the corporate landscape. Mr. Babu stands as a testament to strategic foresight and unparalleled leadership. With a career spanning over 3 decades, his journey is marketed by a profound commitment to innovation and operational excellence. For more than 20 years in the industry, he held pivotal leadership roles at a top-tier firm like Godrej and Boyce. Today, he stands tall in pride as the Chief Operating Officer at G-Square. Mr. Junaid Babu brings this formidable wealth of experience to spearhead the company's growth trajectory. Please give a huge round of applause for our first panelist this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our second panelist for this evening is Mr. Sanjay Chugh. He is the City Head and Director of Anarok Property Consultant Private Limited, Chennai. A veteran real estate professional, he is the City Head and Director of Anarok Property Consultant Private Limited from Chennai. In his current role, he is in charge of building Anarok's strategic marketing partnership model with leading property developers in Chennai and currently handles a portfolio of over a dozen residential projects. He was the National Head for Mandated Sales and Business Head, Chennai Residential Services, JLL, India. With over 2 decades of expertise in real estate, he is a role model to many. Again, let's welcome him with a round of applause. Our third panelist for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Satish. He is the Director of Kongu Global Forum. And also a trustee at Tirupati. Since inception, Mr. Satish is working along with the team members at Tirupati in restoration of water bodies, afforestation program, sewage treatment process, awareness campaign, and other initiatives towards better environment. As a director of the Kongu Global Forum, he has the opportunity to work towards creating better infrastructure in Western Tamil Nadu region. Well, he was a part of the team to represent the authorities about the airport expansion that has been the talk of the town, about international flight service, Vande Bharat trains, railway station redevelopment programs, building expressways, flyovers, bypass roads, and metro train facilities in Coimbatore. Again, let's give him a round of applause and welcome. Our fourth panelist for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Jude Alex, the Managing Director of Synergy Business Ventures. His professional journey began with a foray into the dynamic world of real estate, where his expertise and experience eventually led him to establish Synergy Business Ventures in Coimbatore. Through this venture, Mr. Jude has successfully facilitated numerous high-value transactions, including rentals, joint ventures, and sales. His success is built on a rare blend of strong industry relationships and a deep understanding of diverse real estate needs, the qualities that have driven both his personal achievements and the growth of Synergy Business Ventures. Let's give him a right round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, a panel discussion without a moderator, I feel, is definitely incomplete. Now, let's give a round of applause as I invite our moderator on stage, Mr. Vishnu PG. He is an Associate Director at GCC Practice at KGISL, a SaaS and talent intelligence leader with over 30 plus years of experience in product management, strategic consulting, and talent intelligence. Mr. Vishnu specializes in helping Fortune 500s and the high-growth enterprises build and scale at the global capacity sectors. He has led SaaS product development, talent strategy, and a digital transformation initiative across IT, engineering, BFSI, healthcare, and retail sectors. So, are we ready for the panel discussion? I want each one of you to give a bigger round of applause for our panel and moderator.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Ekta, for a wonderful round of introduction and for invites. So, Friday evening, I know it's a tough time, and all of you wanted to start rejuvenating yourself for the next week. So, this conversation, we will keep it in both English and Tamil. I hope all of you are okay with that. Answer? Okay, great. So how many of you know already about what is integrated township? Alright, hopefully most of you, but let me just give a very quick introduction about what this is all about, and I will set the context and then probably will go back to my seat and ask for the questions. And today, generally I stay in India, so it takes about 10 minutes for me. And இன்னைக்கு பார்த்து நியூட்டன் கரெக்டாக பிளாக் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. So I had to go till PSC Tech வரைக்கும் போயிட்டு I had to take you. And it almost took some 25 to 30 minutes. So now இதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு 8 to 10 years I was in Bangalore. And I suddenly felt that whether I'm in Coimbatore or Bangalore looking at the traffic. Right? So the ideal solution for this is integrated township. So it is nothing but essentially a city within a city, which will have hospitals, retail, malls, let's say play areas, and education institutions within the premises. It's a mini township, it's a mini city within itself, right? And today, if you look at, I will share some interesting numbers. Tamil Nadu is today the most urbanized state in India, with an urbanization rate of 63% in 2021. Far higher than any national average of 36%. And globally and across India, the concept of integrated township is something has proven to reduce commute time, a lot of pollution, and multiple others. So we all know during COVID what has happened, or just after COVID, people were very reluctant and staying back in their house. Even in Bangalore, let's say, generally from Hebal to Koramangala, which used to take about a good 2 to 3 hours, was taking only 40 minutes. So these can be brought back if we build integrated townships, and that's what our discussion is going to be focused on. Some of the key locations like Saravanampatti, Sati Road, Sulu, Ramnur, Madhukarai, Coimbatore, all these are good hotspots which can be built as an integrated township in Coimbatore. And on the infrastructure front, the blueprint includes a 147 kilometers and MRTS network. So I'm talking about the recent document which the CM has published. Public transport capacity is set to triple in Coimbatore, and the plan also prioritizes walkability, cycling tracks, and smart traffic systems. And one other interesting trend, a lot of MNCs, a lot of GCCs are coming towards Coimbatore. And with this, the population is going to double. So there are statistics saying that by 2030, there will be at least 30% more population in Coimbatore than what it is currently. So consumer preferences are also shifting. So today, we have almost 67% of millennials as home buyers. So let me carve out what are the themes that we are going to talk about. So theme 1 is going to be on why integrated townships. The expert panel will discuss on why this concept is required. They will share the best practices from other locations. And here the locations are gaining a lot of prominence these days. Theme 2 will be on urbanization challenges, which all of us know. Theme 3 is on land and real estate pressures. So having said of bringing in integrated houses, there are a lot of political pressures, there are a lot of pressures in terms of land acquisition. We all know the airport story and multiple other stories within how we are struggling to get the infrastructure. Theme 4 is mostly going to be, we are also going to touch base on the Coimbatore master plan a bit, because that is very closely integrated with the topic that we are going to discuss. And theme 5 is going to be on learning from others as well. So let me go back to my place and then probably I will start the first question. So this is more of an introduction and setting up the context, so I hope all of you are okay with this, and we will try to wrap it in 40-45 minutes and open it to you for more questions. So please be interactive and please get interested. Thank you. So I will start with Mr. Sanjay. So Sanjay, at a national level, where are integrated townships gaining traction, and how do you compare Tamil Nadu as well as Coimbatore in the picture?
So if you look at the integrated township story, like you rightly said, integrated township is nothing but weaving a residential community around social and physical infrastructure, right? So it's not just building houses, it's building it around an ecosystem of physical and social. So when you look at this, I would say states like Maharashtra, especially Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, Karnataka, and to a great extent Gurgaon, Haryana. So these are the states which really took a lead in terms of starting and constructing the integrated township concept, because as these cities grew more and more urban, and like rightly said, travel time, getting to home to work, work to home, I think there was a realization, and all of these started coming up on the suburbs of the city, because in the CBD or the central business district, where business is normally conducted, you don't have land. So if you look at Powai or Mumbai, Hiranandan constructed a very large township, which even today people talk about. Because the name IIT, and then there is a huge township. You look at Pune, Magarpata, Amanora. So you look at all of these cities, basically DLF and Gurgaon, they created a lot of real estate which were not the primary city but of the suburban part of the city. Coming back to Tamil Nadu, I think Chennai, Coimbatore today, especially Coimbatore because there's so much happening, I think there's a huge potential. They not even tapped the tip of the iceberg for this segment. And there's a big opportunity because people who, especially the migrant population which moves into any city, looks for such kind of developments.
And what do you think about the So as I mentioned, the millennial population is also incrementally increasing. So do you see a similar trend across Tamil Nadu?
So I think the demand stems from the migrant population, because back in the cities that they are migrating from, they have got used to living in this kind of an organized township. So when they come in, to a city like say Coimbatore or in Chennai, where I come from, the first question they ask is there a gated community? Is there an integrated township where if the couple, husband and wife, are working, the children still have a lot of things to do without really going out of home. If the wife is not working, she still has a lot of social infrastructure there. We have mall, shopping, all of these things built into the residential community. The man who's going to work, he can actually walk or cycle to work because that's what they look at. So it's a integration of all factors coming together to make it a habitable lifestyle.
Thank you. I will next go to Mr. Junaid. So as a local developer, why are integrated townships crucial for Coimbatore's next growth phase?
So as a real estate developer, we strongly feel the integrated development is the way to go. Because firstly, it's a planned development. Because in Coimbatore, if you know, traditional industries are thriving. We have a lot of GCCs, IT companies are operating, and overall the economy is thriving. So economic thriving leads to growth, leads to population explosion and all that. So unless until you haven't planned environment, so that will definitely will help the city, the landscape of the city to change. That's first thing. Secondly, what is the customer? And again, coming back, adding on to that point, they again puts lesser pressure on the infrastructure, because we have seen cities like Bangalore, which is bursting out of steams. Like you have traffic issues, you have flooding issues in Chennai and all that. So if it is a planned township, all this pressure on the existing infrastructure actually comes on. People commute within the community and all the thing happens. And secondly, what happens is customer expectation, because customer aspirations are gone. They want a better ambience, they want better facilities, they want overall to look good and all that. That kind of gated community, all that, that is also catching up. And again, moving out of the traditional areas of development, like city getting spread out is also always a good thing to happen. So, and again, we can think about sustainability, and all that can happen if you are moving, if you are developing an integrated township. So, as a real estate developer, we are very much upbeat on an integrated township.
Thank you. So, Mrs. Satish, I will probably go to you. Coimbatore thrives on its entrepreneurial ecosystem. How can integrated townships support this while keeping sustainability front and centric?
Right. Yeah, basically, if you see Coimbatore, why people come to Coimbatore? First is the opportunity and the development, the climate, so on and so forth. It is very, very important that you have a good climate and a good purpose of you being in this town, because half the people today are not born in Coimbatore; they've just migrated into Coimbatore. I think amongst us, many migrated more than being born here. So the climate is very, very important, and the infrastructure supporting it is very important. The industry and the purpose of them moving into cities. See, basically, why you come into cities? It's a dream. You will be in different parts of the state, different parts of the country. You pursue something, you want to do something, that's when you move out of your comfort zone and you come into a city. So once you come into a city, first thing is your job, and then the place where you stay and how comfortable, how safe, how the facilities, the environment around it, everything matters. So as such, industry, there's no shortcoming there, because it's always growing in Coimbatore. The opportunities are there. This is the city of enterprise. So I think that answers your question.
Thank you. So, Mr. Jude, from a strategy perspective, do you believe there is sufficient demand for live-work-play models in Coimbatore, or what kind of trends are you seeing, especially in this space? Yes.
Yes, generally.
So live work play models, it's more like a plug and play kind of a models for the housing related.
So on the investment front.
On the investment front as well as on the buyer behavior front as well.
Okay, so from the investment front, if you see, generally Coimbatore depends on a lot of people from outside. So I would like to say that this integrated township is a very good investment, is an increasing investment opportunity for Coimbatore. I'll emphasize on a few points on that. One is basically there's a lot of IT which is coming to Coimbatore. I think everybody knows in the last 2 years, 2-3 years after COVID, there's so many companies which have come. So many have set up IT companies in Coimbatore. And I think all of them are full. You take the big names like KGISL, that's Indialand, Banadiam Tech Park, KPR. Today we are running a shortfall of IT space. Second thing, there is close to 6 to 9 million square feet of IT space available in Coimbatore, which creates a great demand for investment. So all the people want to come to Coimbatore because of that. So that investment opportunity is very high, and I think there's a good growth prospect in that investment opportunity. Now, second thing is it a worthwhile investment? In integrated townships, people in Coimbatore always like to look at something different. And they rarely look at some quality. Even if you say some of the houses in Coimbatore or anything, they much bigger than what is in Chennai or any other area. They look at great quality is what they see. Now why? Because of all this IT growth, you have a lot of in-migration from rural area to urban area and from bigger cities to these cities. Now, why this integrated township is very important for people? Because you can have a lot of facilities there, a lot of not like individual things without any facilities.
So do you also see this work from home as a boon or a thing for this?
Work from home is generally what happens is
Maybe a hybrid.
it's hybrid might be okay, but work from home, what I've seen from many of the companies, they found it's a non-successful model because many families, if they work from home, there is some call from husband and wife saying, okay, somebody's come, there's a courier man come, there's a milkman come, so they're not able to work properly in the organization. So I think efficiency is a little less. People were thinking that because if they go back to office, the commuting time is less, they work more, but I think that's not work well.
So having set the stage, let's look at some of the urbanization challenges now. So Mr. Satish, I would probably start with you. Is there a risk of Coimbatore mimicking metro-style congestion without planned township development? I was on the township built pandradnala, would we face similar challenges, or how do you see from your point of view?
Challenges will come. It's not that you can get rid of it. It's a part of growth story. So, அது எப்படி நீங்க ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டியை கன்வெர்ட் பண்றீங்கன்றது தான் இதுல முக்கியம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்னன்னா நீங்க சிட்டி முதல் இருந்ததுக்கும் இப்போதுக்கும் it's a drastic shift of what it was, and it is bound to change even faster. How quickly you are able to adapt to that change is what matters. இப்போ கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கும் challenges இருக்கு, privateாகவும் you have a set of challenges that's in front of you, but that's the opportunity. First, the roads, the road infrastructure, which is very, very critical. In Chennai, we don't have wider roads. The road is quite narrow, and that's why we're building so many flyovers. Trichy Road, Avnashi Road, which is going to open in another 15-20 days. So the challenge is how you commute people from point A to point B. So, Sati Road, again, the problem is from the textual flyover until you cross go to the Prozon Mall. It's a big challenge because there's a lot of encroachments, and we as an association, 10 associations together, we are telling them that they should expand that road, and the process is going on. Adhe mari Medpalli Road, for instance, is better, but that Sarvagapoi flyover varano, Saranambatti flyover, Singananur flyover ella varanonu naanga romba insist pannirukkom. அதில் சரவணம்பட்டியில் மெட்ரோனால கொஞ்சம் டிலே ஆகிட்டு இருக்கு. சிங்கானூர் ஃப்ளைஓவர் ஆல்டர்னேட் ரோடு வேணும். நீங்கள் ஒரே முட்டை ஃப்ளைஓவர் கட்டுறாங்க, எல்லாத்தையும் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட முடியாது. ஸோ தட் செட் ஆஃப் சேலஞ்சஸ் வி ஆர் ஃபேசிங் தேர். வி ஆர் first ஒரு DPR போட்டாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் அது வந்து didn't go through. The cost escalation ஆயிடுச்சு. Now they have gone to the North Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for an approval. So they're going to come back and then they're going to do that there. அதே மாதிரி இப்போ சுந்தராபுரம் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஸோ அதை வந்து எப்படி ஸ்ட்ரீட்லைன் பண்ணுறதுன்னு பார்த்துருக்கோம். மதுக்கரையில் வந்து பிரிட்டிஷ் காலத்தில் கட்டின ஒரு அண்டர் பாஸ் இருக்கு. பாலக்காடு ரெகுலராக போனீங்கன்னா இந்த வெஸ்டர்ன் பைபாஸ் வர இடத்துல they building a flyover and the interchange. So, but the Madurai flyover also, there is a challenge there. They're working on it. I mean, they should have done it long back. So, this road working, all these set of challenges are there. Environment is a bigger concern because every human being sitting in this room, outside, everywhere is a polluter. You pollute the air, you pollute the water, எல்லாமே நம்ம pollute பண்ணிருக்கோம். Unless and until we reverse it, we will go the Bangalore way. The amount of waste generation in the city, it's not a joke. 1,200 tons of waste you generate every day. Where will they go and dump it? That's a set of challenge. But other than the startups where they can convert the challenge into an opportunity. So in the Mari set of challenges, townships it's more organized. When you get into a township, you have all these areas covered. There must be zero waste, zero, you can't send your sewage out, you can't send your waste out. Waste is wealth. If you can segregate it at home, if you can do a proper segregation process at home, everything can be sold. Kitchen waste can become manure. But how serious are we about those subjects is what matters.
Absolutely. Very valid points. So, Mr. Sanjay, since you also have a macro view about the nation, what's the single biggest roadblock to scaling integrated township models, especially in the agro cities? Is it policy, infrastructure, or financing?
I think more than the policy, I would think financing, funding, and creating the infrastructure. Like Satish mentioned, infrastructure has to be created before you can put the township. Generally, what happens in most cities, and if you look at across India, the infrastructure follows growth. It's not the other way around. But if it's a proper planned township where the developer is already taking the efforts in putting things in place so that the challenges that are being faced without infrastructure later do not happen, right? So I think one is policy, but I think tier 2 or emerging cities would have, because most of the funding that really happens on the macro level, the emphasis on tier 1 cities. How do we fund the city like say Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, Pune? So I think there's a huge opportunity today in emerging cities like Coimbatore and Beyond Tamil Nadu. It is just that we need to tap into resources, financial resources, and make sure the growth happens. But the good thing is that there is availability of land on the suburban areas. So a developer can still get the land, provide infrastructure, and like Satish said, provide a better quality living. I think what people really want is to be close to the city, but at a quality lifestyle. So all of it is emerging on wellness, lifestyle, holistic living. Do I really get in the center of the city and have day-to-day challenges in terms of commute, traffic, congestion, pollution, or do I stay a little away? So if you look at abroad, typically the trend happens is people work in downtown, which is the city center, and they stay in the suburbs. They have a proper system of public transport, which takes them up and down 5 days a week. They don't even bring a car. The car population is very low because they discourage car. So people are encouraged to come by public transport to their workplace, complete their work 5 days a week, go back and live in the suburban area where the affordability now for a cost of an apartment in any of the cities in India, Coimbatore, Chennai, Bangalore, is very expensive. For the same price, you can get a larger villa or an independent house in the suburbs, and it's an hour away. I think the challenge lies more in public transport. If we are able to connect a public transport network, I can tell you with metro coming in, life will change. People will start using public transport way more than what use their private transport. So that will bring a lot of transformation.
Thank you. You answered my second question, which was on mobility. So, Mr. Chulu, coming back to you, what are the top investor concerns in township projects and how can they be handled?
What you say, the investor?
Yeah, in terms of the concerns which the investor generally express in terms of handling township projects.
Yeah, see, in township, the investor will first look at, any investor will look at appreciation. So, what is the appreciation he is going to get for the township? So, if you want to get a good appreciation in the township, he will look at lot of facilities. Facilities should be world class, with good amenities, for good urban living, for standard urban living. That's what is the first thing that people will look at in any integrated township. Then, generally what they will look at something else which is close by, like work from next to office, from the compound or just near living spaces. Then they'll be looking at schools. They'll be looking at healthcare which should be close by. They'll be looking at something retail. So if an integrated township will come and give all these facilities, that will be the first thing that people will be looking at. Because the main criteria is appreciation. Then, good standard of living. That is the
So investor money profit is something
that everybody will look at. Basically, because everybody in India looks at, okay, see, last year I bought my house at 1 crore. Now, 5 years later, will it come to 2 crores? They don't want to know, okay, they're living there, they're living happily, nothing. Now it is worth 5 crores. So the happiness content for people is very high in that situation.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chennai, from a developer's view, what infrastructure must city and state deliver for township viability? So, what, from an infrastructure point of view, what should the city and state deliver for building sustainable townships?
Yeah. So firstly, the connectivity is very, very important. Like, for example, we have recently acquired 700 acres land at Coimbatore. So we are blessed with an western ring road cutting across, so which will cut the transit time, no? Anybody going to Bangalore, Mysore, Ooty and all that. So like that, no? So first and foremost is connectivity, not only road, and again it's connectivity in terms of metro and all that. We are told that there is a metro like coming till Ukadam, so which is very close to Coimbatore. All that fuel growth for any township getting developed. And various policies like from central or state in terms of industry development and all that, like IT parks and all that, favorable policies will definitely help, will fuel the growth, and that will also increase the demand for the township. And very important thing is faster execution. I think we need to do that. Whatever we announce, we need to do that very fast. We have seen examples in Chennai, the Greenfield airport was delayed by almost more than 5 years or so, and we've seen smaller airports are overtaking us actually. So whatever we announce, all this connectivity, all has to happen. And coming to that master plan, I think that's a great thing. The directionally we are right, and I think once we do that execution faster thing, it will definitely help us.
And a follow-up question here. So, how do you see the interest from the ecosystem inside the township? Like, let's say, from a school, from a hospital, or from other places within the community?
See, for example, look, I'll again go back to this example of 700 acres, which we will be developing as a township. So it's not only we're developing as a plotted thing. Plotted will be close to 400 acres, and balance we are thinking of IT park, we are thinking of mall, we are thinking for hospitals, and resort, hotels, and all that. So it will be, the livability indexes will be very, that kind of livability index is there. We are very sure that people will migrate to these places because there is a livelihood there also. There is an IT park there, then he can start working there. There is no need to commute, and then he can start and all that. So we feel a huge opportunity happening there, and a huge demand for this kind of townships.
Thank you. So all roads lead back to land. So let's try to unpack that. Again, I will start with Mr. Sanjay here. With rising demand and limited land, how feasible are large-scale township projects, especially again within capital locations? Because land acquisition is something which every Coimbatore citizen will talk about it, especially large land acquisition, and we know the so since we are not going to do it, I hope you still know the airport story. So that's one thing which comes on top of the headline. So on a macro perspective, how do you see this?
See, when you have land is a raw material, it's a fabric. With land, you can make anything. Like it's a fabric, you can stitch into anything. None of the integrated township projects which have been built across India have been in the center of the city. Because land is not available. And if it is available, the price it is which it comes to is not affordable to build this kind of an ecosystem. So land typically is always on the suburban area. Now you may ask, today if it's a suburb, what happens 5 years hence? 5 years hence that becomes part of the city. And then it keeps going higher and higher and higher. So if you say 10 kilometers from your distance, you realize that in 5 years that 10 kilometers become very easy to commute. And you look at the next 10 kilometers. Let me go back to Chennai. In 70s, there was a huge layout called Ananagar, which was promoted by the government, right? And nobody was convinced about buying. It was a big trade fair, it happened over a period of time, such a large extent. And today, if you look at that, it's a city by itself. It's no longer a suburb. If you look at southern part of the city, I'm talking about an OMR from the Chennai perspective, it is no longer a suburb. So slowly the suburbs get merged with the city and it creates new and new suburbs. So similarly in Coimbatore, you see what is relevant today as a suburb which may be 10 kilometers from the city center, say from Avinashi or from where we are sitting. In 10 years it will become merged with the city. So the boundaries keep going ahead and ahead and ahead and the cities start growing. And this is a trend globally. It's not only restricted to an Indian city or a tier 2 or a tier 3. Globally this happens as demand keeps so you'll see in 10 years, Coimbatore may have 25 integrated townships because the land that is on the suburbs will get merged into the city and the appreciation like Joe had pointed out, obviously the buyer is looking at monetizing it at some point in life, right? If not today, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. And although that 1 crore becoming 5 crores, 5 years is notional because somebody is staying there. But the satisfaction of that growth is very heavy. So people always look at what can I get. So there have to be drivers. There could be a highway, it could be an airport, it could be a metro. There has to be something to drive people to that thing. It cannot be a totally virgin area with nothing at all. So people will not go into a location where there's nothing happening. There has to be some driver, but the driver may be a little ahead. You will see that mirage. When you drive, you will see the water. There's no water, there's a mirage. So you keep increasing and increasing, and you slowly find that the cities start growing, in length and breadth, but the suburbs start going up. So that's why land is something which, whether it is today or 5 years hence, is also the most valuable asset. And obviously, it's not being produced anymore. I can't make land, so limited land. So that is a big advantage for a developer to look at how we can look at land parcels. Only from the home buyer. Today it will be a discomfort, but in 5 years, once everything is connected to public transport, you will not feel it. And it happened in most of the cities.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chief, coming back to you, which models, whether it is developer-led or PPP or consortium, make more sense from a Coimbatore context if we have to develop townships?
So I think it is generally a developer-led. That's the most ideal one because when it's a developer-led, he buys the property. But if it is for an integrated township, it should be a minimum 200, 300 acres. Otherwise, it doesn't make a good integrated township. So when the developer comes in, he's got a brand value. He's able to take decisions very quickly. So there's no problem for any decisions if it is in the consortium model or the PPP model what you spoke about. And he can be where each thing comes separately once the residential comes, the IT comes or anything. That is the most preferred model. The second model is like the consortium model which you said, which is like what I think the common people here know as the JV model. That works little well at Coimbatore because of land fragmentation. many people don't own such huge parcels, or there was earlier a lot of land rules which didn't allow people to own a lot of land parcels. So that has its small challenges because again it's a two-party. One is the landowner and the developer. So landowner will say, I need more share, or he'd say, I want to do glass, I want to do something like I buy you an IT, I don't want an IT. Somebody say, I want a hotel, so what am I going to get in a hotel? So there's a lot of challenges which come on the way. And so that execution takes time, and sometimes what the developer wants, he would have envisaged a great product. He'll be pulled down by the joint venture partner. So consortium has got those difficulties, but it is much better than the PPP model. PPP is a private-public partnership. That generally works well in cities where the government has got a lot of land. See, if government has got land and is willing for development with private partnership, then it can work. Like I think in Bombay they're trying to do with the slum area and all this. So that the government is giving land. But in smaller cities, generally the government doesn't give land. And the biggest challenges are there can be a lot of court cases. There can a lot of be change in cycle. Governments keep changing, new rules come. So to conclude it, I say the development model is one of the best.
So, Mr. Again, going back to your previous comments, you mentioned that faster to market or faster to construction is the success story for, let's say, for the whole project. Right? So, how do you design projects that are affordable, livable, and sustainable, especially with land costs climbing every second or every microsecond, especially in Coimbatore context?
I think, again, integrated township gives an answer for that, because in the integrated township, we look at large land parcels. So always you have that economies of scale kicking in. So now again, going back to the same example of the 700 acres, like, when we buy that kind of huge land parcel, it actually the cost per acre is much lesser than you buy a smaller parcel. And when you develop also, like you lay the roads and all that, for the road laying, for construction, again, the economies of scale will definitely help. And you can have multiple streams also. You can construct a mall, you can construct a hotel, all that again will contribute, and definitely that will be on the side of the affordability. And secondly, when some customer is buying it, having it, he also will spend lesser money on the commuting or other expenses actually. So that will also help in terms of affordability. I think the second one was on livability, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So livability, I think this kind of again this place is on the Western Ghats, hotels and all that. Will have a much better ambience, and it's a private development, so the ambience will be good. And specifically, I think the master plan talks about 33% green cover. Now the plotted, I think our green cover is more than 50%. 50% is more than 50% is open area actually. So that kind of livability, the air quality index will be better, and it's lesser pollution, climate is better, and all that. So all that will drive livability. And I think these are the two things. I think
Yes.
I think I answered.
Thank you. So, Mr. Sandesh, again, continuing the same thing on the ESG perspective, how can we grow while safeguarding Coimbatore's green identity? So, since you have been one of the flag bearers for the city in terms of sustainability and ESG, if you could share your point of view here.
Yeah, the environmental sustainable goals you're talking about, it's very, very important. You can have ambitions, but it has to be practical. As one of the livable city, it's just not about building infrastructure, building spaces. Only when the city is livable, people would like to come. Coimbatore is always very sought after because you have the beautiful Western Ghats on one side, where it cleans the air that you pollute every day. And the Palghat gap is again a big plus for you because the air pushes all the air quality is maintained that way. That's number one. Number two is the Silvani water that you're talking about that brings in people, and it's actually one of the best systems that you have where there is no motor pump that's used until the water reaches your tap at your house. So it is all by gravity. So that is one big advantage that you have with regard to Coimbatore. And needless to say that Coimbatore is becoming a big retirement destination. People who, are in big positions that they hold office, would like to come back to Coimbatore for a retirement, that speaks volume of what you want to do. Environment is very, very crucial. You have a very beautiful river, Noyal, until it reaches the city. Beyond the city, it's very polluted. So there are a lot of check dams, and we are in the process of restoring the river. There are rivulets that forms before the river originates, and then there are check dams built by the Cholas, where the water comes into the lake. When the lake gets filled up, the water goes out. You don't find such systems in any other city. And we have maintained everything. The government, simply all of us in collaboration have done a fantastic job. Your groundwater levels are at much better level. The quality of groundwater is much better. STPs must run. STPs must be good. So all these things matter. And more than anything, in Siltri we have decided to plant one tree for every citizen in the city, so that every polluter has a backup plan of keeping the air clean. So all these things holistically makes a difference.
So thanks for sharing these points. I would probably steal some of this when I sell the GCC story. So let's come back to the master plan to 2041. So Mr. Sanjay, I'll start with you. What impact will the 33% green zone designation have on township opportunities? So Coimbatore, at least we were almost closer to 80% more, closer to 100% in terms of the green coverage. But do you see the same trend across other locations as well? And in future, how do you see this percentage panning out?
So this A is very good for the environment. This 33% green zone of green cover. What it will bring in is a scarcity of land, because you will necessarily, it's not like a property layout like Mr. Junaid said, that we have more than 50% open. Most of the properties or most of the land is being acquired, 30% going into a green zone will shrink the possibility of development. So two things will happen. One is more than horizontal development, you will have vertical development happening, because you'll have to retain whatever you can take out from the land. There's a huge land cost that you buy the land at. So the cost of land has to be mitigated. If you can't go horizontal or flat, you'll have to go vertical. So that is one thing that will happen. Yes, it's a very good sustainable model to create this, and I think for the next generation, we will certainly have to create this thing, because there's no other choice. We can't pollute the city, we can't pollute, there's pressure on water and everything. So it is a necessity, but it has to be very smartly handled. And I think development in the future, maybe in the next 5, 7, 10 years, you still have plots, you may still have villas, you may have houses, but that may disappear. So if somebody wants to build a villa or a house, then they should be in fast track motion, get it quickly, because 7, 8, 10 years from now, you'll only have vertical development. You just go to Bombay now, you go to the city, it doesn't look like what it was 10 years ago. Right? You go to Bangalore, you go to most of the bigger cities today, you don't feel that that city which was low-rise is low-rise anymore. You have tall towers, 50 floors, 70 floors, 100 floors. So the heights are going up. You go to Hyderabad, massive tall structure. So that is the reality, and that may happen in the next 8 to 10 years across India. Emerging cities like Coimbatore may take a little more time, because we still have the luxury of all of the land that we have. But going forward with this now, yes, it will create and be good for the environment, but at the same time, the development will become more straight up, more vertical than flat or horizontal.
So one crazy or futuristic question, you can take it in both ways. So with AI coming into the picture, and again from a tech background, so I should ask at least one question from tech. So with AI disrupting across industries and getting adopted by the whole world, you need to let's say to how the LLMs and machine learning and all this stuff work. There is a huge consumption in terms of water, in terms of nature and all. So how do you see this to be tackled, or do you think a separate policies has to be formulated by the cities or government in terms of keeping AI also in mind, or development of the newest technologies in mind?
Very good question you asked, because if you see now, many of the office buildings, the office occupiers are insisting those buildings to be clean. They do not want, the buildings not to be clean, and clean again is gone more than gold and platinum into various things. A lot of the residential projects now are also done in that manner. And a couple of the projects that I personally visited, 70% of the water that is discharged, which is wastewater, is recycled. And it is coming into landscaping, it is coming into the flush tank, not for shower and not for cooking, but 70% of the water is recycled. So as we are going vertical and we believe that it's going to happen, a lot of things on the environment, especially with the green building norms coming in, your heat management, the kind of glass to use, the kind of materials that are going to construction itself, are not taking care of such things. So you will not have something which is going against the environment. In fact, like he said, somebody is planting a tree there. So for the tree development is happening, there are people who are very conscious about the environment. Waste management, like Satish mentioned, how do you discharge the waste, how do you segregate the waste. So I think a lot of people are getting educated. I think children are getting educated more than adults. We have fixed our mindset. The kids are getting, they're going to school, they're learning all of these, and they want to adapt. I went to a community in Pune, just to share a small thing. It was a total child-centric community. Like Coimbatore is the mecca for senior living. So this developer planned the city, township integrated. It was only for children. So what was it? They said that children have talent, which the parents do not know about. So they have people teaching music, tennis, cricket, any sport, any culture, anything. So it's all focused on the child. What is the child like? The child in his after the school can learn that be talented in that particular segment. So totally child-centric community, and the booking of that project happened not within weeks, in hours.
Yeah, so children's be a pressure moment and
Yeah.
So coming back to Mr. Jude again, so how do you see the master plan instill investor confidence for long-term township projects?
So I think all questions to me are concerned investment. Being the real estate guy, so I think he wants to ask.
So I will also ask or add one more question.
So I think we start with this because
we say that there are a lot of different kind of investments, especially Gen Zs like me. So even you can invest in, let's say, 1 square feet or less than 1 square feet in, let's say, commercial space. How do you also see this with trend coming up in the residential spaces as well?
So you say the first part.
So there are different. So the first part is on how we see the master plan instill investor confidence, especially for long-term township projects. I think the master plan in 2041 is going to have a lot of interest from the investors' point of view in creating more integrated townships.
Yes, so that is really true. The master plan is very important for ECT. Now, the master plan 2041 has given a lot of infrastructure facilities for Coimbatore. It is given that 100-odd kilometer bypass. It is given the airport expansion. It is given metro, rail. All this is very important for integrated townships. Again, coming back to all these things. So, what does the people look at? First, commuting, infrastructure, all this. But what is the risk or the mitigation which you asked? So, the basic risk is all these are long-term 2041 projects. So, there are cycles which keep coming, like we said, the airport and all these things. But since the government and the 2041 is a very planned structure, not like today, tomorrow, or for just for 5 years or something. It's a long planned, drawn project. So I think it will be very useful for integrated townships because it will give the developer once there's a robust development from the developer because he knows that his approval will come in time. There's a clear demarcation of land. Green zones are there, very clearly that the green zones are there. So it's easy for him to develop according to that, give it to the investor and say there's a lot of green zones, a lot of facilities like this.
So, Mr. Satish, again, how do you see integrated townships aligned with the new industrial corridors to attract green, future-ready businesses? But again, there are investment from government saying that we will create a semiconductor park, we will create an AI park. So, are these, at least from the ESG point of view or the environment point of view, how do you see both of these going hand on hand?
I think it has to coexist. I mean, if you look at the kind of parks that the government are announcing, the Viability Defense Park, your semiconductor park in Palladam, and they wanted to do a park in Annur, which, kind of because of the protests and things like that, they're finding it difficult to move forward. But even otherwise, if you look at Coliseum, they've done two beautiful parks for about 300 acres and 200 acres, which all with all the facilities, like townships, like industrial parks. And you can't have those parks as inside the city. You have to move out, and to move out, you need better connectivity. You have good roads; people are ready to go to work and come back. But if you have traffic jams in those roads and the commute becomes difficult, then they think. But if you look at it, traditionally industries in Coimbatore, even in those days, they moved out of Coimbatore. 15 to 20 kilometers, they move out of Coimbatore and then they create, if you say Kannur is one such area, and then Vathakal is one such area, and Pollachi Road. So in Medpalayam Road, Benayakapalayam is one such area where you have these big industries coming up. So it is very, in Chennai, if you say Sri Perumbudur is 40-50 kilometers away from town and then they go to there, Varakadam is one. So like that. And once you develop the industrial base there, then you get the integrated townships close by. And then you have the residential part of it also taken care. So people don't need to commute, especially the workforce. They don't need to commute, and then you have different kinds of hostels coming up. So everything is kind of in order, in place.
Thank you. So one final question, and after that I will probably go with the rapid fire question. So, Mr. Judik, again, how do you see long-term plans like 2041 helping in integrated townships? So, do you work based on this 2041 plan, or do you take it step by step, and how do you generally do it?
Master Plan 2041, I would say, it's a brilliant roadmap for Coimbatore. It's brilliant because it talks about development, what kind of development, how to drive development, and because of the driving development, what kind of population growth is going to happen, how the city is going to expand, and how to bridge that gap in terms of improving connectivity in getting your ring roads and metros and all that. I think it's a wonderful thing, and so it gives a lot of confidence, like developers like us, like when government itself is having this kind of vision. We need to integrate ourselves into that, and we need to create the city within the city, so that, and we have here the advantage of, we have seen what are the mistakes you have done in other cities. I think these are it's in front of us, so at least so we'll be more careful, and the development, as I mentioned earlier, the development will be a planned development. So full mark to 2041 master plan. Actually,
thank you. So a rapid fire round. So all of you, if you could answer the question within 50 seconds. So if integrated townships are going to define Coimbatore's urban trajectory, what is one lever we must get right? Land use, infrastructure, policy, ESG, or community. So I will repeat the question. So if integrated townships have to be the striking point for Coimbatore's urban trajectory, what is that one lever we must get right? Is it land use, infrastructure, policy, ESG, or community?
I think it is infrastructure, but everything else, what you said, is connected to infrastructure. That's what I want to say.
I think it's livability. Okay. Everything comes into it.
Create more jobs. Anything important is
land use, because land is finite, so we need to use it properly.
All right. Thank you. A big round of applause for all. we will open the questions to the audience now, so we wanted to hear more from you and answer your questions. I know it's again a Friday evening, you're possibly hungry and you might have to go back. Traffic is also there in your mind. So let's try to get some questions. Whoever wants to go first, please. Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, good evening, all the panel members. My name is Srinivasan. I represent a company called DF Foundations Private Limited and take care of marketing. And with me, I have my wife Sharda, who is a legal expertise exclusively from real estate industry. I have two questions. The one question addressed to Sanjay. I think you have been very optimistic about the next 10 years. You said that there will be close to 25 integrated township in Coimbatore. If that happens, I think sky is the limit. But besides that, I think if Coimbatore needs to attract, more quality people, expertise, technology, I think, we are lacking in terms of, there is no IIT in Coimbatore. There is no IIM. And there is no veterinary college. And we have veterinary college in, Udamalapet. Namakkal. We have medical colleges, engineering colleges, everything is there. You people are all, I think, talking about all the developments. But don't you think so? These three areas needs vital planning in terms of policy. That is one question. And my another question goes to, I think anybody can take this, in terms of real estate policy matters. In Tamil Nadu, we are still limping at FSA of 3+. So this is a very pathetic condition in Tamil Nadu. If you look at Bangalore, if you look at Pune, even places like Mangalore, I think in Mangalore you have a high rise of close to 25 floors or 30 floors, and looking at FSA of 4.5. But in in our state, I think we should look at FSA of at least 5 to 6, if not 8, like Mumbai and other areas. So I think policy matters a lot here, because Sanjay did mention that you need only vertical expansion. There is no way that in the next 25 years we are going to go for horizontal expansion. So in that matter, I think in what we people like you or Kridai, they can influence the government agencies to look at this FSA expansion. I think I am done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll take the first question that you asked about the requirement for IIT and education institutes. Today education itself is not restricted to a geography. The talent pool that you have in Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu is very high. We have the highest literacy rate. There's a lot of people, there are a lot of good engineering colleges. A lot of the talent pool actually migrates from here, tier 2 emerging cities, into a larger city like a Chennai or a Bangalore or a Hyderabad. My answer to the rapid fire question that was asked was the same thing, is to create more job opportunities. If you look at all the cities that we discussed, apart from Coimbatore, they've all grown. If you look at Bangalore, what happened in Bangalore? It exploded because of the job creation. Any city, whether it was Gurgaon, whether it was Pune, for that matter, there were all similar cities like Coimbatore 15-20 years back. Similar kind of a weather, similar kind of a city. But because of the job creation that happened in those cities, whether it was IT or manufacturing, that brought in a lot of people back into the city. So the growth really got triggered by a massive job creation. So whatever real estate investment, development, whether it's integrated, vertical, is all only going to happen when there is enough people who are going to come work in that. So what happens? Job creation creates demand for residential housing. Residential creates demand for retail. If you look at malls, Coimbatore has got already 3 operational malls. You're going to get one massive one. So obviously the mall developer who's doing the biggest, who has planned it, is also thinking of the next 10 to 15 years. how the city will explode with the kind of people coming in. I think we don't have any vacancy in any of the IT parks today. And Jude mentioned that 6 to 9 million square feet of IT which is planned. You will see that over the next 3 to 5 years, there will be so many people who will come in here because of the job, because they will get a job. And that will in turn give rise to good quality housing requirement. Retail is already there, 3 malls, 1 more coming up. You will see that all the businesses which are here will start growing because of that one factor. So I think the emphasis is how do we create more and more people to come into here, and then for this city to really go to the next level of growth. And when I mentioned that the township projects, see there is a lot of land that is available. Even today I was doing a recce of the whole city on the suburban areas. So suburban is 10 kilometers from where we are sitting. There was a lot of land available. So when there is so much of land available, I think it's only an opportunity for developers like Junaid Babu to come in and see how they can plan integrated larger townships where you can actually bring in work. If you bring in work, you bring in residential, you bring in retail, you bring in hospitality, you bring in healthcare, you bring in education. And that is a true form of integrated. And that is the real success of any city where they are able to merge everything into making it larger such landscape.
Thank you. So one kind request to all the audience, please keep your questions crisp and also to the topic that it is.
Okay, the second part of the question, which you said, why don't you increase the FSI? And why don't we all look at this? So I will take a small thing about the different cities. It is something like a chicken and egg story. What happens for Coimbatore? Initially it was a 1.5 FSI, it's gone to 2, it's gone to 3, now we have a premium FSI of 3.25. What happens? See, Coimbatore has got a lot of water bodies. Most of the sewage from all these things, where is it going? It's going back to the water bodies. I'm sure Satish should be able to tell us that most of the waste from all these things are getting back into the water. Now you told about cities like Bangalore. I will give an example of Bangalore. They had 5 FSI. You know what happened to Bangalore? The most congested city, it developed so much, buildings were coming up, all this. The next city which went berserk was Hyderabad. Hyderabad had an unlimited FSI. And when they gave an unlimited FSI, people went to 12. How can roads, how can sewage, how can water, which is already being connected, we take all these FSI? So I think 3.25 is a great premium FSI for Coimbatore. Because there were a lot of suburban areas. The government is trying to do a lot of things, bringing infrastructure, the 2041, bringing roads, bringing all this. So if we can, the 3.25 itself is good. I think that's my answer to this.
So in short, you are saying you don't want to create swimming pools, we still want to
We want to preserve this city as a livable city, good clean water, good environment. See, this city why was it famous? Good weather, good water, and finally good people. Wherever you go, they say, Coimbatore Makkal. I think that's the biggest investment thing. Why people come here? The people are very good. Water is very good, environment is very good. So, how I would like, it's very good that everybody clapped. I think all your people have created this good name. We should keep that reputation of Coimbatore being one of the best, nicest people. Wherever you go, they say they are the nicest people, best people. Last time, there was a Chinese guy who came. He worked here for 1 year. When he came back with his boss, and his boss asked, do you like to live in this place? He said, Coimbatore, very, very nice people. Last time I had a person from Bombay who was basically from Madurai. He came for real estate to take a property. He works with a very big brand. So he asked whether for my son and for Coimbatore, I can give you a property in Coimbatore. What he said in Tamil, which is a little difficult for me, he said,
They are worried because the development has to happen all around. And as an integrated township developers,
all loaded towards that area. So we are also planning to bring something in our Coimbatore G-Square Savile City IT establishments. And there is a recent announcement from government also, close to Bharatiya University, they are bringing an ELCOT IT park. Some variation.
It's operation. Operation.
No. It's just announced like so many. It's close to Bharatiya University. So there is a So behind Bharatiya University there was an announcement. So So government is also trying to spread it out, and from our side also, as developers, we will also try to spread it out.
Well, with that, we've come to an end. I am really sorry about that, but our panelists will be, joining you all if you have further questions, with your permission. I'm sure they have a lot of doubts and questions. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you all to give a bigger round of applause for our panelists this evening. We have truly enriched today's discussion with their perspective, with their vision and experience, and to looking ahead and speaking about Coimbatore in the next 10 years. I think that is the kind of influence that we all need, because this houseful that you're seeing right now are all Coimbatorians by birth or by heart. And thank you very much for actually acknowledging that, because Coimbatore is what it is. It is because of the people, it is because of the climate, and obviously it is because of the weather. So thank you for acknowledging that. Now I'd like to request Mr. Shafiqur Rahman, the General Manager and Head Events and Activation, the Hindu Group, to kindly come up on the stage and to felicitate our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a bigger round of applause, because their insights have shed light on how integrated township can redefine urban living and the economic progress. Well, a special thanks to our moderator for leading today's dialogue with such poise and skill. And I love the fact that you divided your questions into 5 teams. I would request you all to kindly join for a group picture. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with that we've come to an end of our today's panel discussion. We would like you all to join us for dinner. And if you have further questions and doubts, our panelists are going to be down there and they will be ready to take your questions off stage as well.